All right, welcome everyone to the View from the Rock. Few things have changed since the last time we met up a month ago. Like, if you would have said, if we would have said, in a month from now, everybody across the planet is going to be quarantined in their home and you're not going to be allowed to go anywhere, we probably would have all been like, yeah, that's so funny. That'll never happen. And now look at us. And most of us are still smiling through it. So, great call today where we are going to talk about, you know, what do we do from here? How do we keep moving forward? How do we keep staying active and adding value and doing things that matter in a time of crisis? So, um, I would like for you as we're chatting, as we're each of us speak, just kind of think about things. Maybe you're already doing something, or maybe you think of something that you can do to help add value and help others through this time of crisis. And so jot that down. And then maybe at the end, we'd love for you guys to share that because I think we all could use some ideas in that area. And I think it'll be helpful. And I think if you share that, you're going to add value to all of us here. So, we have a choice to make right now. We can either step back, and I think probably all of us had a moment, and I think we should have had at least a few days where we stepped back and said, okay, I need to just like sit down and do nothing and process for a little bit. So we can continue to do that for the next few weeks and just kind of hang out and be like, this is not the time. People, we can make excuses. People don't want to buy things. People don't want to hear from us. I know one big excuse that I've had going through my mind is I shouldn't, or I don't want to do a live video with like my positive spin on things because everybody's doing a live video with positive spin. But guess what? It's not everybody. It's just I happen to be friends with a lot of people who had that positive spin. Um, and then our other option is to, ask ourselves, how can we make things better? And I personally choose the second one because I feel like we've been given a gift in this opportunity, and there's different ways that we can look at it, different perspectives we can have, different things that we can feed our mind that will challenge that thought. But the reality is, we really have been given a gift in this time, and it's just a matter of processing what that is. So, my question for you is, why does it even matter? Why should we step up and take the lead? And what can I personally do? And I believe that if you're on this call, like you were called for such a time as this. What what other where else could you work? What other network could you be a part of? Where else could you be plugging in where you have been given the opportunity over the years, for some of you years, to plug into personal development where you're leading yourself, you're making yourself better, you're being encouraged to add value to others. Many of us who have been coaches for a while, like that's what we've been planted. That's what has been planted inside of us from the first day we started. And so we can keep all that to ourselves. We can like go off the handle and forget all of it, or we can dig more into it and find ways to share that with others. Because I've read threads before, like I'm sure you've seen the threads that are like, how are you feeling right now? Like your name is how you're feeling plus the last food you ate. Have you seen that? And like if you read through how people are really feeling right now, people are struggling. And I mean, I'm not going to say I haven't had moments where I haven't been overwhelmed or frustrated or upset. Like I have those moments, but overall, I can moody yogurt pretzel, perfect, exactly. But for the most part, I found that I've been pretty peaceful. Yesterday was not a good example. My husband wants to know what the heck is wrong with me. Today is a good example of feeling peaceful. So, what are we doing to pour into ourselves? Um, you know, it really is our time to shine. And so I hope today that what you'll take away from this is some ideas on how you can add value to others, how you can start pouring into yourself more, and how you can just make more of an impact and seize this opportunity not to get customers, not to add coaches, not to grow your business, but to be the light, because that's what we need more than anything right now. And if you've been listening to Bob Heilig. I've been sharing those in the group. I've personally been mentored by him. I've started listening more to Brad Bizjack, John Maxwell. Oh, you have to go listen to the stuff he's been sharing. I think it was just 3 days. I'm not sure if he did a bonus one or not, but I shared one of those in the Rot. But go to his page, John Maxwell Team, and find the link to listen to those. They're long, but just packed. And the whole thing is revolving around how to deal with crisis, how to lead during crisis. And so I encourage you to listen to that. And it was one of the things that inspired this, like some of the things I'm sharing today. But you're going to find that incredibly helpful. So that's what I'm doing. Like, what am I doing right now to help move my business forward? It's not about the invites, guys, right now. It's about connecting. It is about reaching out to people and genuinely seeing how they're doing. I had a girl reach out to me the other day, and I know she's been following that. I don't know who she's listening to that told them, just reach out to people and see how they're doing and be genuine. Like, we want to do that, but I was like, when she messaged me, I had no past message with her. I have no connection to her. I have no idea why we're friends on Facebook, but this was the first message she ever sent me. So maybe, like, narrow it down a little bit more than that, because she was clearly grabbing at straws there. So if for you that might mean just pouring into personal development, how many of you have purchased some sort of training, or maybe you've signed up for it for free, that is something personal development of some sort that you have yet to dig into? Does anybody have that? Like, okay, this is your time. And I know that, everybody's schedules looks different. I know that we're all home, but things look different for each of us. So Amy and I were talking about that, like figuring out your schedule now. Right now, that might just be figuring out what your schedule is and how to work it in. The truth is, though, none of us knows the answer. We don't know where this is going. We don't know how it's going to end. But I can tell you one thing is for sure, that if we start focusing on the negative, nothing's going to change, and it's only going to get worse. And I know that sometimes it may feel like, well, things are really bad. Like, I can't just like pretend like everything's great. No, things are really bad, and we are struggling as a planet. But there, hopefully you've seen some of the threads that are going around about all the good things are happening. People are loving being home with their family right now and having that time together. And so it's really about turning things around. And I've seen Angie offer value to people with the whole homeschooling thing and just going live, and like, she applies to everybody. Like, it's amazing that she can just take what she's learned and what she's been going through for years now, and for such a time as this, where she's offering incredible value. I know a lot of coaches are offering, the free fit clubs and joining live Zooms. Yeah, Angie, can we just send all of our kids to you? That would be great. Amy, I've seen that she's been plugging into the podcast or the live videos from Maxwell and sharing that with her team, and just pulling out little nuggets to share with people through social media. Kelly's been offering prayer time, setting up, where you can meet and just talk. Stephanie is always just a light of inspiration and just pouring her heart out to people on social media and giving them a safe place to come talk. So it's just the little things that we can offer and share. So, Amy, I would love, I know it's just random. We should.
You always make me go first. Somehow I'm always the first one on your screen, maybe.
Okay,
so I'm going to be real. She just was texting me 30 minutes ago, and I'm sitting outside by myself. I told my husband, I was like, I just need a 5-minute break from these kids. Some of you guys may be on your week 2 of teaching from home. I saw a teacher said she didn't like us calling ourselves homeschool moms now, because that takes away from the teachers, because the teachers are actually doing work, which I get that. I used to be a teacher, but we are teaching our kids. Like, we're having to, create stuff, and our school hasn't given us anything until next week. But I just I need 5 minutes, because they've been up my butt. And yes, I love my kids. I love this time being home, but it's an adjustment. And I think we all need to acknowledge that this is an adjustment. John Maxwell always says, give yourself 24 hours when you're having a pity party. Well, I need like a week, please. Not a pity party week. I just need a week to adjust. So one of the things I was sharing with Rebecca is like, we need to give ourselves grace this week, this month. It's not going to look like it used to. I'm used to being home by myself from like 9 to 3. I don't have that now. Now I'm trying to do these things with the kids. Now I'm making 3 meals a day for all of these people in my house. My husband's here too, doing school. Got to shush the kids, keep them quiet. Like everything feels like it's spinning out of control. But in all reality, it's not that bad. And like Stephanie put in one of the comments, like us military people, this is not my first crisis. This is not the first time my life has been turned upside down, inside out. It's really not much different than an international move or something just crazy that happens as we go about our life. So I don't really feel scared or panicked about what's going on around me. I think it's just the fact that inside our home looks a little different right now. And I've got to figure out what is going to be best for me to work my business. Monday felt great. Yesterday was a little crazy. And, Rebecca, who's been doing this homeschool thing for a few years now, she's like, give yourself time. Like it's okay if it takes more than a week for you to get into your norm. So that's the first thing. I think we all need to give ourselves grace with what our business hours look like. Last night it was 9 o'clock for me and I never work that late, like never. I told my husband, I was like, I'm going to sit in the bed here. Please rub my back while I at least check in on my challengers. Like connecting with the people who have already trusted me is so important right now because a lot of those people are struggling and they've trusted me with their journey. And that includes me pouring into them and not just saying, okay, well, I can't get in my challenge groups this week. So I think starting with your challengers who you have now is important, as well as adding value to the people that are on the outside, maybe that haven't purchased anything. Yes, we do need to be adding value to those people, but don't forget the people who have already trusted you with their journey. Because I asked in my challenge group, like, how are you guys really doing? Like, talk to me. And I was really shocked by how many people, I'm sorry, my neighbor's dogs, can you hear that? It's so annoying. By how many people, like on a scale of 1 to 10, we're like a 1 or a 2. And so I put that in there to kind of evaluate, well, where is everybody? Because I am not at a 1 or a 2. I'm like an 8. I'm okay. I'm safe in my home. We have food. Our income hasn't been affected by this. I'm okay. So what can I do to help them? So as a coach, we need to be thinking, what can we do to add value to our current challengers? And one of these people, I had to do a one-on-one text message with her last night because all she does is sit in front of the news and she's pouring all of this negativity into her life and she's paralyzed, can't work out, can't have a shake, can't do this. She was ordering chocolate on Amazon and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. So this is our time to shine, to like really dig in with these people and help them figure out how can we make this work during this time? What can I do to have some type of normalcy? And for me, like my workouts is my 10-minute break, my 30-minute break, me by myself. And encouraging them to like, okay, if that's the only thing you do today, get your workout in. And then also encouraging them like, hey, I realize the food situation is a little tricky right now. We're not worried about perfection with our nutrition. I'm just sharing things that I'm talking about with my challengers because I think we've touched on, adding value and doing the free groups for those people. But what do we need to do with the people that we are connected with and are trusting us right now with their journey? So don't forget, yes, we always want to be bringing in new people, but don't forget about those people because a lot of my people have been with me for a long time and I'm not just going to be like, well, we're in a crisis now, so I can't help you. What can you do? And for me, getting my workout in, still trying to be the example in all the areas with nutrition and, drinking your water and putting some positive encouragement up in your challenge groups. Don't let those things go to the wayside because it's chaotic in your home, around you, and the personal development pouring into your mind to be able to pour into someone else. You got to have something good coming in. So listening to that John Maxwell call the other day was really great. I took like 3 pages of notes. But the one quote I wanted to share, he said, "What we do with a bad experience defines who we become." So what I was telling my challengers is, who do you want to be in 6 weeks, if this is 6 weeks, or 8 weeks, 3 months? Who do you want to be at the end of this? Do you want to look back and regret the choices that you made by sitting and sulking or not working on your fitness and nutrition, I don't want you to regret who you've become. So what's one thing that you can focus on? So I think really digging in with those people, like I said, that are currently with you, is valuable. And I think you're going to see the fruit of that labor at the end of this and be like, look what you've done during this quarantine time. So let's help these people make this rough experience a good one.
Thank you. That's excellent. And Kelly, I think it was you that I spoke to when we were talking about, you were talking about just giving them something so small to do. Amy had mentioned just like giving, all right, she was completely stuck, didn't want to do her workout, didn't want to make a shake. All right, what's one small thing? Wasn't it you that was talking about that?
I mean, it might have been. I talked about that on. I know I've been doing a lot of lives, so I don't know where I did it, but I did talk about that.
That could have been it. So how have you been handling? What's been keeping you motivated? Have you had any moments where you just wanted to have a meltdown and not do anything?
I've lost my count several times.
Okay. Tell us more about that, because that's relatable.
Right. So I have a lot of kids, and my husband's a principal, and I thought in my head fully that, oh, he'll be home and he knows how to do this, so it won't be that hard because he knows what's going on. Because during the school year, I'm very blessed that they go to his school, so like he kind of knows the ins and outs and helps guide me, so I don't have to stay on top of everyone's schedules. But when you're the principal and you have to put your school online, like he's like little Mr. Mini President of St. Bernard's. I mean, he's on the phone nonstop and trying to figure out boundaries and getting 100 emails a day. And so I started to get really frustrated because it's a lot and everybody's got to figure things out. And I wasn't allowing myself to just be frustrated or just give myself 24 hours to be irritated or frustrated or mad or whatever emotion that I needed to feel. And so I talked about that. And I don't know which, I think I talked about it on Facebook. I don't remember where, because I've been sharing what I'm going through like a day after I kind of went through it, if that makes sense, or maybe a few hours later, about like, your emotions aren't wrong. Just don't stay there. Like, but you have to say it. So like one night I had to tell Courtney, like, I'm mad. This is not what I thought. Like, my son might miss his first communion. My daughter's 8th grade year, and she's missing all of these important things for her. Like, I was supposed to go visit my mom. Now I'm afraid of my mom's health. Like, I had to just say all of the things that were like inside, because when I'm holding on to them, then I feel like a fraud serving others because I'm so stuck in my emotion. But the truth is, if you like let your emotions out, they actually can help you serve others. So I had to start with the baby steps myself. So like the first week of like school at home or whatever the heck you want to call it, we focused on food, like when you can eat and when you can't, because my kids are like piranhas and they'll eat all day long, you know? And then this week it was when the TV can be on and can't be on, and when you're doing school and when you're not. Because I have some kids that get really anxious and they would sit in front of the computer all day long thinking they have to do everything. And then I have some that won't do anything unless you make them. So small tweaks. And so I've been trying to communicate that on social media. So I did a Zoom for our challenge groups Sunday night called Cultivating Peace in Your Interior. And it was like 3 systems to cultivate peace in your interior home. And I opened it up to the public. So all my free challengers could hop on. I posted about it on Facebook and Instagram, anybody who wanted to hop on, which usually that's just a private Zoom for just my customers, like that are in my challenge group. And I used the word system, but it really wasn't about a system. It was just because I think right now we all want one. And so it's more about things that I've learned to help navigate like stress and anxiety and that kind of thing. And kind of what you were saying, Amy, like when you talked about what we do impacts us. So I was just
Amber, you ready to go take a nap?
I just shared, like, we're kind of in a season of planting, like right now in our business, but also in our personal journey. So what seeds do you want to plant right now in your personal journey? And I had them like come up with 3 or 4 virtues that they want to cultivate during this season of quarantine or whatever you want to call it. And so in my business, I've had the same focus. Like, what seeds do I want to plant in people? And it's like hope and peace. And my favorite quote ever is that peace is like where everything can be falling apart, but you're still calm inside. And it's not like perfect, you know? So I've been trying to focus on how can I add value daily in small ways that like cultivate the virtues I want to build up in my team and in my clients. And so I agree, like Amy, one of the things I wrote down that you said, I like, usually I check in challenge groups last. Now I'm checking in my challenge groups first. You know, before I'm sending any invites, I'm making sure I'm following up with messages from my clients. If you're an Emerald coach, you're probably getting a ton of leads right now because of all these people signing up. So I want to send them maybe the Zoom recording or things, you know what I mean? Like and this experience has shown me that I take care of my people, but it showed me I was coasting in a few areas before, it happens. And so now I have an opportunity to serve more. And I just want to plant a lot of seeds. So in my team, I talked about starting 50 conversations for hope, or like I'm trying to do a challenge every week. So this week, the hope challenge is send 3 people a note in the mail, encouraging them, like 3 of your customers or a coach, or if you don't have that, then 3 people. Cause I don't know, I feel like it'd be nice to get something nice in the mail nowadays, you know? But I feel like you have to recognize your emotions and let them out. And you can take 24 hours. The only thing I had to tell myself is like, when the 24 hours is over, it's done. Cause I can like drag it out for a few days and justify things. But, if anything, I feel the pressure right now in a positive way of like, we've been equipped really well as coaches to serve people right now. And what I found is I'm securing my own oxygen mask better after losing my ever-loving mind a few times because I have to. And so I feel like all the skills I was taking for granted are now like right in front of me. And I just want to teach them, but bite size. Like I don't know about y'all, but when everyone posted the calendars of what they were going to do for school at home, I was having a mild panic attack. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. Like, and I laughed at the progress that I think it was Jim Gaffigan's wife who had like the 3rd day, mom's locked in the closet with a bottle of wine, dad's nowhere to be found, kids have watched 8 hours of TV. Like, I was like, yeah, that's what's going to happen. But like Angie's been sharing homeschool tips, and a few times she's talked to me after I've lost my ever-loving mind and have given me a tip, like, do this, you know? And like, I might not have those skill sets. So if all of you are on here thinking, but I've never homeschooled, no, but you have something, whether it's like how to regroup when you've lost it, or how to, like Stephanie had that tip from last call about when you like have an urge jar. Is that what you called it? Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's something I should probably teach now. Cause you know what I mean? Like, I need to ask you where you learned that from. But we can rely on the small things that we've been learning for the last however many months or years that we take for granted. People don't know. And so maybe it's just showing that you're working out with your kids. And then like we're offering people want to hop on with us, and being willing to show up for that Zoom from week and a half and have no one come with you, so that in a week and a half, when someone has the courage to say, can I please join you? You're still doing it. So I think right now is the time where we have to show up and be okay with the fact that some of our team might be sitting down right now, and a lot of our challengers might be hunkered down. They're still watching. And it's not us being perfect, but it's just saying like, I've been getting up at 5:45 every morning. I said I would do a Zoom at 6 a.m. and then I realized that night, oh my gosh, that means I got to get up before 6. And I'm not a morning person, but I've been getting up except for one morning at 5:45, and I'm on at 6 every morning. And if you come, you can work out, or you can do your devotional, or you can read, and I will pray with you before the Zoom is over. And I've been getting up because I want to offer that space to people. And some mornings no one comes, I'm still there. And some mornings a few people come, but I will keep going. And like Elizabeth has been doing that in our challenge group. And if people come or not, she posts, I'm going to keep showing up whether you come or not until you feel ready. And I think that's kind of the hope we can offer people, is like, there's somebody who's doing something different right now. And I think that's the coolest part of our opportunity, like of how we serve. I mean, yeah, it's awesome. We have a digital library of things for all the people who can't go to the gym. That's cool. And yeah, it's awesome. People can make money from home, but even more, it's like we've been formed really well. And that was like, I think I told you that, Rebecca, like, I feel like I've been training for this moment in my business for a long time. And I love to serve. Like, I'm a Pearl through and through, but I think we all do. So is what a service I offer my challengers. I'm not sure what you mean. The Zoom call? Oh, so every Sunday night, we as a team host a Zoom for all our challenge groups, and whoever we take turns leading, and it's just for our challengers. But in this season, we're opening it up to the public, probably through the month of April, just as a way for people to have a place to come get filled. And so some Sundays are on nutrition, some are on, like mine was on mindset. Sometimes it's a coach testimony. One of our coaches shared her testimony of how she overcame like an eating disorder and how she got it just shifts for whatever we think people need. And usually they're private, but right now we're making them public just to serve. So, but sorry, I could talk all day because I feel like this is something that, and I'll tell you the last thing I'll say if this helps anybody. So what my husband and I decided is, because he is home and he is Mr. President of St. Bernard's, like he's not the principal. I feel like he's the head of everything. We have shifts. So like, this is my shift. I take over the whole morning until like 1 o'clock. I don't bother him. The kids don't bother him. And then from 1 to 4 is my time to get whatever I need to get done. And it might, if he has a meeting that pops up, I know that now. I had to release that expectation, but I've been more productive in the last 2 days than I have in the last year because I can't work in the morning. So I'm doing a whole lot around my house that I wasn't doing before. I'm enjoying my kids. Like we did a Shanti workout today. It was hilarious. They were like boxing each other and my 5-year-old was running around and getting punched. And I mean, it was like, I wouldn't have this. And so sharing, I don't know, like it was a big joke about a month ago. I was like, gosh, I wish we had nothing to do. I'm so sick of having so much to do. And now I have like nothing to do, out of the house. And so I just want to encourage you to think, what are the things you've grown in the most as a coach? Is it peacefulness? Is it like learning how to meal plan? Is it learning how to not emotionally eat? Is it learning how to talk to, pray, whatever it is? Those are the nuggets and seeds you should plant and think it's all my fault. Think like, what is it that you want to plant in this season? If you had to name 2 or 3 virtues you want your business to share with others, like ours are freedom, truth, and hope. So like I've been focusing on how to foster that through my social media and just give and it's kind of funny because everyone's seed starting right now. And that's kind of what we're doing in our business. Like I don't seed start. I should, but I have a brown thumb, not a green thumb. So, but anyway, so sorry, I don't mean to keep talking.
Thank you, Kelly. Sorry, I jumped out on you a couple of times there. We're having some serious meltdowns here. Stephanie, would you like to share a little bit on your thoughts on the whole staying on track and adding value and keep moving forward through all of this?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I feel like I'm not even up to Amy. Like I do not have a rhythm. Our school has given us very little to work with. There's no online stuff that we're doing. It's just been a free for all, and it's very different. I feel like I've always wanted to be a homeschool mom, but that's like choosing your own curriculum, not having this whole thing like they pulled a pin and threw a grenade at you and like, we can't help you. So that coupled with the fact that my husband works with the airlines as his business. And so I've seen him less. He was working from home, but he's taken over my office and my space. So now I'm in the house with the kids and there is no shift. There is no division of that. Like I see him when he gets up and grabs coffee and goes in to work. And then I see him after dinner. So that's been hard. It has been much more stressful than I would have ever thought. And so like, I don't even I feel like I haven't even gotten in a workout space, and maybe you guys are feeling this. Hopefully you've all figured it out. And I think just being in California has been like a whole different level. We've been in lockdown probably longer than most people. And like neighbors, you cannot even get near anybody. It's just socially isolating. But I mean, I preach to myself what I tell clients, and that we get to control our thoughts about it. And the facts are neutral. You're right, Rebecca. We don't know when and if this will ever change. We just heard from the San Diego school system that school could be out indefinitely. Like, not the rest of this school year. Like, we may not go back to school. What the hell is that? Like, what does that even mean? What does that even mean? Like, won't go back in the fall. So again, circumstances are neutral. They're just factual. I get to decide what I think about that. And I think being at home, you know, with family, focusing on faith, serving in the community, that just looks so different now, serving in the community. I don't have a big family. I have 2 kids. I have an 8th grader and a 3rd grader. So they don't even really play together. So it's just like not having that outside time for my kids is different. It's just a very different climate. My husband worries he's going to lose his job. That's real. You know, those are like the stress in the environment. It's very, very real. So how do I offer value? I sent my team just a message saying, how can we be part of the solution? Where am I needed? How can I show up there? And then I said, remember, do not look to others to decide how to feel. So don't look to your neighbors, the news, Facebook, etc. You need to step back and decide how you want to think about it. Because it does feel a bit like a free-for-all, like, if we're all honest. But I mean, you know, I shared with somebody, I think I even talked about this online and alive, that I feel like God really prepared me for this time, not just as a coach, but just losing my mom, having to move, just a lot of stuff, my son's illness, like all of it is stuff I can't control. This is just one more thing I can't control, right? But I would say, you know, limit your feed, limit your news feed, get off the news cycle. I think we can all agree that it's not trustworthy anyways. So go back to your trustworthy sources. For me, that's the word of God. Be around positive people, plug into the team calls when you can. And I went to a conference one time that said, and they were really, this is back in the day when we can do business as normal, but like, one of the speakers said, the funny brings the money. And I love that. Not that I'm trying to make money off people, but y'all, people need the funny right now. So, and I don't necessarily mean like funny COVID memes, but like just funny stuff. Like a girlfriend of mine posted something about her plan for recovery after all this is over. And it was like, give everybody $1,800 to go shopping. And the first week 1 is nothing but beautification treatments. And I loved that. And I reposted it because it was just, it's funny. It stops that whole cycle. And then the last thing I would say, get coaching. Get coaching. Call your coach. Be with your coach. If you're not with a coach, coach yourself. Write down your thoughts. I love that. It's one of the things we teach in 2B Mindset when you're journaling your food. And maybe you're not journaling food at all. And by the way, you have permission to not do that. Like, you have permission. Like, permission granted. Because we're all doing stuff that's a little off kilter right now. But writing down your thoughts and deciding how, it's kind of like Amy's question, but deciding what do you want to feel out of all this? If that thought is not serving you, if it's not creating a feeling that's bringing peace in your house or bringing calm, or, you know, I feel like calm wins right now. Who wins the race? Calm does. Calm wins. That's who's going to survive all this. It's not the panic and the craziness. And I love what everyone's talking about. For those of you, I think all of us have kids on here, but ultimately the schooling isn't really the important part. Yes, we don't want them to like turn into mush. Currently my 8th grader is getting a PhD in Xboxing, but but the emotional part of it, like if we can have these people that we are discipling with love, and they learn how to evolve in crisis. It's the same thing that we can do with our team. So all that to say, yes, serve in your community, serve online, serve your team, be a respite for other people, but really take care of your people. And if that's what you're focused on and you're focused on your journey and you're not inviting, like, show up and share that, you know, but it doesn't have to be for real. Like Rebecca said it earlier, this is not a cash grab. This is not a, We're not trying to turn everybody online into a customer, because that is so awful right now. That's not who we stand for. But offering value and all the free stuff that you can do, even like, y'all probably follow Jen Yoder on Facebook too, but Jen posted a thing about, she makes these big pancakes in a pan. I was like, that's value, because we're all over here scarcity mindset. Make me a big pancake. Yes. But it wasn't like it wasn't a Beachbody post, if you get what I'm saying. So just be real, live life, do it outside the box, and share. And don't feel like you gotta be Kelly Brown. You don't have to go live every day. I feel like Kelly just needs a channel. Can we have the emergency broadcasting station? It's Kelly.
Amen to that. That's her outlet. But I will second that. We don't have to do what everybody else is doing. Don't look at what everybody else is doing and say, well, I'm not going to do anything because I can't do what she does. We all have our gift. Angie, share your gifts with us.
Right. All right. So what I sat down and did last week was to try to figure out what I actually could provide, because I really, at that day, the day that I sat down to do that, I was feeling really overwhelmed. I was having a really bad time. I have 3 kids that are still out of the house, so they still are going to work, or one lives away and one comes out and goes back. And then I've got 3 in school that were all brought home last week, and then 3 that are homeschooled. And this shook everything up like a big snow globe, because the ones that still work are still seeing other people in the outside world and coming back in every day. The ones that were in school, were all over the place. And then the homeschoolers can't go anywhere and do their regular activities. So this is not even like homeschooling. This is completely different, because we can't do our classes or events or see our friends or any of that stuff. So I had to sit down for about an hour and just try to figure out what I could provide for people. And I had a lot of people reach out to me about homeschooling. And so that's why I decided that I could at least sit down and talk a little bit about how to talk to your kids about this, and also kind of some nitty-gritty stuff on how to homeschool, like setting up space and setting up schedules and feeling overwhelmed and how to take care of yourself. A lot of that stuff just comes from our regular Beachbody things that I've learned and done and read. But some of it's some homeschooling stuff. And some of it is that I can deal with a little more chaos in my house because of the number of people in here, and I'm just kind of used to it. But every once in a while, what hits the fan, and I have to regroup. But I've been going live every day to talk about dealing with this all with all your kids at home. And probably the one that I find the most important is learning to talk about this in a way that is positive. So not, I have to do this, but I get to do this. Not stop with all your emotions at me, kids, but tell me how you're feeling, because this is what's happening in my life, and how are you dealing with this, or what do you think is going to happen, or what are you worried about? Because your kids, how you talk to them matters. The language you use matters so much. And so that's something I've tried to touch on in almost every one of my live videos, just talking to them about what you get to do with them, and how, yeah, this is hard, but we get through this together, and what do you think we should do? And having them help problem solve with you rather than just taking over everything. Yeah, I yell a lot, and sometimes I put them outside and I shut the door, and I'm like, you can't come in, and they're like this at the window, and I'm like, I'm sorry, the door's shut, you cannot come back in. So I guess just keeping the lines open with your kids, and that's the same as what Amy was talking about with challengers, like, and Stephanie, like, and Kelly, you got to talk to your challengers about what's going on with them, and you do the same thing with your kids. Like, they need to be treated with at least as much respect as your challengers are. And so because those kids, they're going to grow up and they're going to be the challengers, and they need to have learned how to deal with this stuff, and to drink their water, and to eat healthy food, and to move their bodies. And so I've been trying to do all of those things just with my kids as well. And I'm not much for doing live videos, but I felt like I could do something every day, just like a 5-minute thing every day. And so every day, right around 4:30, I tried to say 4:30, but it's never right then. I'm always late. But right around 4:30, I do some sort of a live video just on something that someone has messaged me about well, how their homeschool day went or how their e-learning day went, because everybody's really overwhelmed by all of it, and it's hard. And I think you military moms have a leg up in some of this because you're used to dealing with the chaos. And I think that's something that you guys could talk about. That, I mean, I deal with chaos, but it's different. Like, it's not like my husband's gone and I have to deal with it on my own. A lot of people expect their husbands to be able to be home and help out. And I'm like, no, if my husband's working from home, he does not help out. He actually takes over rooms. Like Stephanie, you were saying, like, you get booted from places. My husband just walked in a couple minutes ago. I'm like, did you tell me you were coming home? Because I have a thing to do. You have to go. And he's like, what? He sent me a text. I'm home. I'm like, oh, that's nice. You have to leave for now. Because I'm doing something. But he's going to expect this space for his work. And it's hard. It's hard to regroup everything and start over. So I guess, yeah, I stuck him outside. He could be like this in the window.
I'm trying to figure out, like, I feel like I'm too callous to go on and be like, look, you guys need to all suck it up. If you were in the military, like if my husband can go away and do this, and I have made it through this and this and that, like, that's how I feel like I would come across. Obviously, I would try to be a little more sensitive, but we have a saying in the military that says, well, in the Marine Corps, semper gumby, always flexible. Like, we never expect our plans to go as they should. So, like, yeah, like sometimes watching people freak out about what's going on, I'm like, you people, like.
But there were times where, even last week, I freaked out. I started watching the news and I got sucked into all of the doomsday stuff. And I actually couldn't do my power hour a couple days because I got overwhelmed, and I had to put limits on what I watched on news feeds and what I looked at. And I just had to put my content out there instead of consuming. And that was like a huge thing for me, was learning that I can't consume right now. I cannot go through and look at people's news feeds. I have to stop consuming and just start putting my content out there, being the hope, trying to be the light, trying to be helpful, and not consuming everybody else's stuff.
Yeah, I think we've probably all been guilty of that. And, you know, same thing, like, you kind of have to do it to, like, see what it does to the inside of you and know that that's not what I want at all, and have to transition back to, you know, shutting it all down and listening to the.
And not letting your kids watch that stuff too, or letting them listen to it. Like, if they're watching TV all day, regular TV, or if they're on Facebook, or if they're even on Instagram, all of that stuff is there.
Yeah.
And it has to be really careful. Like, I have to ask my kids, what did you see today?
Yeah.
What did you watch? Because they kind of try to think about it themselves, and they make up stories, just like we make up stories about when we invite someone and they say no, and we're like, maybe it's because of X, Y, and Z. I have to ask them what is actually going on, because they're not going to tell me unless I ask a very specific question.
Yeah.
Especially the older ones, because they're trying to figure it out and they think I don't know anything, so I have to ask.
Yeah.
Can I throw in something on the consumption part, Angie, too? I think the temptation, on the other hand, is to over-consume good stuff. Like, there is somewhere in this thread, in the chat, it's like, you've got Brad Bizjack, you've got John Maxwell, you've got all these amazing people offering free content right now, which is fabulous. But pick who you most identify with, not the top three, but pick the one and go through the one person's stuff, take notes on it, do what Amy did, type up 3 pages, and then, like, practice it out. Because the other option is you're just going to consume that stuff all day and you're still going to get nothing done. And it may not even help your headspace. You're just going to get farther behind, right? And create more additional stress with that. So pick the one person. We used to do a thing when I was in pharmaceutical sales, when it got to where, like, the sales numbers were dipping, we had no meetings. So that, like, to me, I'm like, okay, who's the one person I'm going to meet with? Who's my one digital mentor? And then what are the calls? Like, I also feel like a lot of people are stepping up with Zoom calls, which is awesome. But yesterday I was probably on 4 hours of Zoom calls. Totally fed my soul, but for the love, right? Because then, in absence of me teaching my kids, this isn't my free time anymore. Then I'm like trying to teach them at 10 o'clock at night. That doesn't work either.
No, I totally agree. You can't just keep consuming, and you can't consume Just like you can't sit around and read a book all day long and still think you're going to get some work done. You can't sit around and watch and be on Zoom calls all day long and think you're going to get work done or school done or anything done. So like we have a block in the morning for school, and then I have a block of time for work, and then I have a block of time for a nap every day.
That is an excellent point. Does anybody want to share like something that they maybe thought of or have been doing to help add value during this time? Yeah, Liz, go ahead. Hold on, I'll unmute you unless you can get to it first.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I typed it in there, but I just wanted to share this to kind of add on to what several people have said. I saw a thing that recommended having kids like either do a journal or do like a video log of like daily of their experience, because they're living through what is, you know, going to be in history books one day and stuff like that. And I, of course, brought it up to the 3 kids that we still have here at home who are older and blew me off. But I started doing it for myself. So like Kelly was saying, to get my emotions so that I'm not denying my emotions, that I'm not denying my concerns, because our oldest son is a doctor who currently has 4 COVID patients, you know what I mean? Like, so, you know, like I don't want to deny my own emotions, but night before I go to bed, I do my little video. They're just saved on my phone. Ain't nobody gonna see them. But it allows me to say it out loud, to get it out there. If I need to kind of watch it back and like hear myself process through things, and then I leave it and move on for the next day. So I just wanted to add that in there, even though it was brought up for something that kids could do, that it could be something that we could do to, like Kelly was saying, let your emotions be there and then move on from them.
Thank you. That is an awesome idea. I love processing it, just because sometimes we have stuff that we want to dump, but maybe social media is not the place right now. I like that you do that. Anybody else want to share? Oh, yeah, I thought the same thing. You don't look old enough to have a son that's a doctor. That's what Stephanie is typing. I agree.
It's a stepson. Yes, he's only 8 years younger than me. So no, I was way too young to have him.
That makes more sense. Anybody else have something they want to add to that? Somebody unmuted.
I did. I guess I want, when I thought about what I wanted to do, I wanted to be able to look back at this time, and I wanted my kids and my challengers and everybody to be able to think, how did you want them to feel during this time? And how did you want them to remember it? Because they might not think it's important right now, but they're going to have learned something very important through all of this. And what do you want them to learn? What do you want them to get out of it? Both our challengers and us and our kids and our family and everybody around us, and how we behave during this time makes a huge difference on how they're going to remember it. So I guess that's kind of where my goal was in this, is providing a safe place for all of those people, but at the same time thinking about how they would remember it. So
that's an excellent focus point. I need to process that a little bit better too, because right now I think my kids will be like, remember when mom was crazy for like 3 weeks straight? Amy, would you mind reading that little piece to close us out?
I just texted her. I was like, I think we should read this to close. Our old pastor from Rhode Island has been going live every morning for coffee time, and it's been really great. And he was sharing Psalm 91. So I found it's a pretty little poster, but I'll read it for you guys. Did you want me to pray, or do you want to pray, Rebecca? I can't.
I don't mind. Go ahead. I don't mind praying. Go ahead.
It's whatever. Okay. So this is Psalm 91. I dwell in the secret place of the Most High. I live in the shadow of the Almighty. He is my refuge and my fortress. He is my God, and I trust in him. He delivers me from any and all attack or threat of the enemy. He covers me with his feathers. I take my refuge in his wings. His truth protects me. I am not afraid of anything, ladies, anything. Not the terror by night, or the arrow by day, or the pestilence or destruction of others may fail, but no threat shall come near me. No evil will touch me, and no plague shall touch my home. He gives his angels charge over me They keep me in all my ways. They hold me and protect me. I am a conqueror. The Lord God, the Most High God, has set his love upon me. He is with me in trouble. He delivers me and honors me. He satisfies me with long life, and he grants me salvation. Blessed be the name of the Lord. I hope that
Amen.
blessed you guys.
Thank you. So, Lord, we just come to you now and we thank you that you are our refuge and our fortress. We thank you that we don't need to be afraid of anything because you say in your word you are here to protect us and that no plague shall touch us or our family or our home. And so we rest in the promise of your word, and we just pray that you will give this team peace, that you will give us wisdom as we share all that you have filled us with. Help us to fill our cups so that we can overflow and pour it into others. And we just ask for your blessing and your peace over each and every one on this call and everyone who listens to this call. And we pray this in your holy name. Amen. All right, team. Have a fantastic week. Look forward to catching up with you on social media when I give myself a social media. Bye, guys.